Hi everyone, I'm Leisha and welcome to my podcast Leisha Online. In this podcast I interview a wide range of guests about lots of different topics, or I might just come here and have a bit of a gossip. I really hope you enjoy this episode. Hello, so I'm Leisha and this is the second episode of my new podcast Leisha Online, and I'm joined by Ali from the Sugar and Spice podcast.
Hello, hi, lovely to be here.
Yeah, so I was just going to ask you about your podcast. Like, how did you get started?
Well, really, I studied broadcast production at Queen's, so really we just kind of got started because my friend Abby and I were just spending all the time that we had together. If we'd ever meet up, talk, we'd go on walks and go for hours because we'd be talking so much, and I was like, I have obviously learned how to make podcasts. Yeah. She was interested and wanted to do it, and I was like, why don't we just do it and set it up? So I remember we went for a walk around the Lagan towpath, and I mean, for hours we talked, and we're like, what are we going to call it? What are we going to do? What are we going to talk about? And then we just did it, and it's kind of scary. I do the editing and stuff, so it's hard to jump in and just do it, but we did, and it worked out okay. So yeah, that was the start of Sugar and Spice.
And what's been your experience with it? I seen you were interviewing Kim from Laoise. What is it?
Local Women, yes. Yeah. So we interviewed Kim. It was so good. She was our first ever guest, and because of uni I had done guests before and stuff, but it's a lot more scary when you're there and you have to get it right the first time when you've got a guest, obviously.
Yeah. I know, me right now.
No, not at all. I understand
really
the struggle. So no, it's really good. It's tricky because suddenly you're putting yourself out there on an online platform in a different way rather than just Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and you have to kind of control your image. If you're if you're careless, you could just stick up whatever and have the crack, and some people are like that and it comes across really well. Yeah. Whereas I'm a bit more oh, I shouldn't say that or I shouldn't say this, and I'm in the edit going through, I'm I'm not sure if I should keep that in, but it's fun.
I honestly love it. It sounds like you're listening to a friend talking, I nearly think.
I know, I love listening to podcasts where that's the same, and you do feel like you're listening to a friend or just a group of friends chatting, because you feel like another friend there, because usually if I'm putting a podcast on, I'm lonely or just want to have a listening kind of ear. So yeah, no, that's kind of what our aim was. So I'm really happy when I hear when people say that, and it's similar to just being a wee friend group.
Yeah, no, I've listened to all of your podcasts from the very first one. I love your and Abby's friendship. Did you meet on Miss NI?
We did, yes, we met. Abby had done Miss NI recently, but we met when I did it in it was first year of uni, so it would have been 2019, I think. Which was an experience, but...
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a really good character building kind of thing, but pageants are super intense, and there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that I think people don't realise, and it's very stressful, and it probably wasn't the smartest thing for me to do it when I was, in the middle of my exams at uni.
You were so young.
Yeah, I was literally... 19, I think I was 18 turning 19 during it all, so that was the thing as well, I kind of thought I was a confident 18 and 19-year-old, and then suddenly get thrown into this world of having to know how to catwalk and know how to do this and know how to do that, and suddenly you're just thrown in the deep end, and I was like, oh.
But here, you need a thick skin when you do something like
this.
You
do, yeah. Especially, I come from Donaghcloney, which is a little village outside Banbridge, and people there are just very much why on earth would you do a pageant, would kind of roll their eyes, and people here do it as well. It's not abnormal. I think in Northern Ireland in general, people are kind of put you into a category if you do things like Miss NI, but I came from a small village. I didn't know anyone in Belfast. I needed contacts in the media industry. And the best way to do it, I just thought, was throw yourself into something like that and do that and get contacts. And I did at the time, and got more work from it and stuff after that. So it was beneficial in that sense,
And do you feel pressure? I've seen you speaking on Instagram and stuff. That's something I can never do. It's talk on my stories. I always try, and I'm I just can't.
I know, it's kind of hard. It doesn't bother me now whatsoever. I don't know maybe where that came from. I'm fine. Do you know what it is? I have a close friend story like most people do, and I will ramble on and talk absolute rubbish, and then I think I just forget that I'm putting it up on my main story. If it's something I would never just put up nonsense, but if it's something to do with work or whatever, then I'm like, oh shit, this is actually going to a lot more people than just 24 people, my close friends. But yeah, it doesn't stress me too much. I don't know why. Sometimes it would take me like 5 takes to get it right without saying like a word properly or something, you know.
No, I really get what you're saying about the small town mentality. That's what I worry about because I have a blog as well that I write on and stuff, and then obviously I do the Here's the Crack podcast too. So I kind of have them beside me and I'm not as nervous, but when it's just me by myself or me writing, I'm kind of like, I wonder if people are reading this or what people think.
It's so scary. Like, I think putting yourself out there online, like full stop, is scary and it's a risk. But if you are yourself and you write like just your true thoughts, then I mean, what can anyone say? It says more about them than it does about you, because you're just pushing yourself out there and doing what you want, whereas they're not and they're talking about somebody else, do you know?
But that's I feel like people aren't reading anymore. Like, do you feel, being in this industry, people don't read, I've realised?
I actually had to see, and I mean, like, I never put as much effort into my blog as you did, but I did have like a bit of a written blog for a while, and I completely agree. I don't think people read and take time to read. They just want to watch YouTube, like me included, you know. If I get bored of TikTok, I'll go to YouTube for a break. Like, how insane is that if you actually think about it, that like I'm going to another video watching platform, or I'll maybe get sick of that and go to Netflix, and it's like I'm not actually engaging my brain like whatsoever, which is a scary thing as well. I'm like, I'm losing brain cells, like not reading.
Do you not think our attention spans have gotten so much shorter?
Oh my goodness. It's like TikTok is the worst for it. Like, I noticed throughout uni, especially like first year, I would say I did my work on time. I kind of submitted everything on time. But by the time I got to third year, I don't know if it was like the pandemic or whatever, I never submitted anything on time. I had to get extended deadlines. I'm sure the lecturers hated me, but I just couldn't do it until, I mean, the last 24 hours. And I would blame sitting on TikTok all day.
Everything except yourself.
I know. An attention span of like 15 seconds, like down to being on my phone all the time. And I'm like, I don't have brains anymore.
I think we should actually just say that we did the same course in uni. I'm final year, but Ali has graduated, just in case everybody is wondering
so confused.
Why we can relate so much. So I do broadcast production at Queen's, and you've just graduated. And what's your experience been like since you've graduated?
I have been extremely lucky in the sense of I did a work placement with a TV production company, and just before I graduated, I think it was like before one of the final assessments or something, they reached out and were like, we need somebody for this and whatever, like, do you want to work for us again? And I was like, oh my god, yes, like, take me. So I think I actually, because I had extended deadlines, of course, there was like a little crossover for when I was working and I was just finishing off uni, so it was kind of strange. But as I said, I've stayed with them since and I've been very lucky. But I was just saying to you earlier, like, it's very temporary industry. It's like 3-month contracts rolling on and on and on, or else not, you know. So before Christmas I had a bit of a scare because January is a very like dry time normally for production companies, and it's very easy to just not have work. So I kind of thought this was coming at some stage, and they were like, yeah, we can't really extend your contract. And I was like, oh my god, what am I going to do? I'm going to be unemployed before Christmas. Like, this is so scary. And it was scary. And thankfully then, a few weeks later, they rang back and they're like, yeah, we've got work in January. So I was like, oh, thank God.
So how did you decide to even do broadcast production? Like, when did that become something you were passionate about?
Like, I did journalism for A-level, and I think that's what kind of started me off. I knew I didn't want to go to Jordanstown for some reason. I was just like, no, I'm not going to Ulster.
Why are we like this?
Snobbery is real, and probably, to be honest, at Ulster, like, it's exactly the same, if not better. But I was like, no, I'm not going to Ulster.
It's a journalism course at Ulster you're talking about?
No, just any course at Ulster. I was like, I'm not going to Ulster. I don't want to be in Jordanstown. You wouldn't even be in Jordanstown, you'd be in Derry, but anyway. I was like, I want to go to Queen's, blah, 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 blah. And then I think the broadcast production course, so the year above us was the first year to ever do it.
I know, isn't that scary?
So new. It was a bit, like, it's a bit of a risk, obviously, doing a course, paying for it that is, like, literally brand new. But yeah, I just remember being in like my sixth form study room, and we were all looking like, our careers teacher was so scary. I remember her like looking, breathing down my neck, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, like I'm just searching up stuff. And then I was on the Queen's website just nosy and seeing the broadcast production course. I was like, oh my god, this is perfect, because obviously Queen's don't normally do like more creative courses. I know there's film and stuff, but I was never interested enough in film to do like a dedicated course. I did want more journalism side, so broadcast production seemed to be like the best fit, and lucky enough I got in and everything was smooth sailing, like, so.
Yeah, that's kind of how I got in as well. Well, I kind of always had this dream of going to London, and I was like,
Really?
at 17, I was like, I'm going to go and be a famous journalist in London. Because I did work experience in ITV, like just when I was a senior on Loose Women, and just by pure chance. But then I was like, right, I want to go and work on TV, and that's it, and this is my dream, and no one was going to stop me. And then reality started to kick in, and I was like, "Let me! I can't go to London by myself." Because I actually have a really late birthday, so I was 17 the whole way through school, and I actually just turned 18 on the last day of school.
You're so young then.
So my parents were like, "You're not going to London," and now I'm so glad I didn't, because do you know Shelley McVeigh?
Yes, I know of her. I don't know her personally.
Yeah, Shelley did broadcast, and she would live really close to me, and we'd be friendly, and she was like, no, I love it. And she was like, I can give you the books and stuff, and it's great. So I just thought, like, I may as well give it a go.
And when you know somebody who's done it as well, has got the experience, like, it's just handy. But yeah, I mean, I was at school, and I was like, I'm going to England. I'm not staying in Northern Ireland. Like, you know, there's not enough opportunities. And to be honest, I'm so glad I did, because, like, my contacts are here now, and in the industry, it's very important. Like, really, it's nearly more important than your degree, that you have contacts and you know people, and they'll get you jobs and recommend you to other jobs and whatever. So I was glad, because I built my contacts while I was at uni. I mean, a little bit, not massively, but I built contacts when I was at uni, and then I had them in Belfast where I stayed and was working, you know, so it was good in that sense. But London, obviously, like, London would scare the shit out of me, because it's so intense and so expensive and just different to what, like, Belfast, and such a different level.
Yeah, you don't have your mummy to run home to when things go wrong.
Can't go home and get money when I'm broke.
I know, that's what my mum was like, I can't make you dinner. I can't, if something goes wrong, you can't just come home for the weekend. I know, really.
It's just so scary. Yeah. Like, I don't think I would have been ready, at 18, to move away. I know some people do it, but, like, my friends are here now as well from uni, and obviously when you grow up from school, you kind of get a little bit less friendly with your school friends, and you just grow apart. But I'm glad I have uni friends here now as well, you know. But I don't know, I just think it would be harder going to uni in England or Scotland or whatever.
If I went to uni in London, I would be home and probably in this course now.
Dropped out.
Like, literally, definitely.
I think I've been the same, honestly. Like, I just don't think I'd have been able to cope. But
So what would be your dream? Like, I know you podcast and stuff. Would it be your dream to present then?
Yeah, I think so, down the line. I mean, I really love, like, radio and stuff like that, and enjoyed, like, radio modules that we had here. Really enjoyed them, and presenting. I kind of started off wanting to do journalism and kind of more, like, serious work, which is still a possibility, but then I was like, presenting's a lot more lighthearted. You're not in the news circle, which is, like, obviously very constant and intense. And it's just more lighthearted, and maybe that's, like, a life I think I want. I don't know. It's hard. And then I've been in the industry for like 8 months now, and I've seen presenters behind the scenes, and it's not. Tell
us about them. Who you met?
So I have worked on a show with Eamon Holmes, who, of course, local legend. He's fantastic, and really, like, one of those people who is just like himself off camera as he is on camera. And it was fantastic experience, even just watching him do his thing. You know, he's able to do most of his lines in one take, whereas me, it would be like 5 takes later down the line.
You could be the new Christine Blakely.
Well, you know what? No.
Keep doing your podcast.
I mean, like, it's hard. Like, it's very hard. You're not, I think you'd be very lucky to get presenting work straight out of university, and I didn't do drama or anything. I didn't have, like, a portfolio. I didn't really have a show reel when I left uni, and people were like, if I were to apply for, you know, a presenting role, they're like, send me your show reel, and I'm like, I don't have one. So I had to get to work and edit some stuff together, and even the podcast in a way was good to have, like, just audio clips of us talking and me being able to present and start that off, you know. So in a way, I don't know. I'm very, like, my dream, so to say, I'm just going with the flow at the minute and seeing what the crack is, you know.
Would you describe yourself as, like, quite a confident person, or?
I think definitely over the years my confidence has grown, but I would say I'm confident now, you know, but only after taking the risks and putting myself out there. I mean, taking the risks, I haven't made massive risks, and even sometimes in social situations, like, I get so nervous about going to, like, a new, like, gym class or going to new, like, friendship groups or anything like that. but like in front of a camera it doesn't stress me out. Like I could chat away, do you
Yeah.
know? So it's strange because sometimes one-to-one with people or in smaller groups I am so nervous and quieter. But
I can
whereas,
picture you being
I
really
don't
like
know.
that.
Like I get so anxious. Like I for the longest time I was like, I want to go to yoga, I want to start a yoga class, but I would never go on my own. Never. That's what I mean. Like, so in sense of that,
So
I
you couldn't
wouldn't-
sit like by yourself and eat lunch?
I could.
I have a nightmare about that.
But
I don't know.
It does make me a bit
Yeah,
like
ignore me, I'm just
anxious.
gonna
Yeah, I guess like I'm very confident in ways that other people couldn't be confident. Like some people are like, oh, I couldn't speak in front of a camera or whatever. And I'm just lucky enough that I am able to. But and sometimes I can't, you know, it's not always a given. But in other ways, like I'm so socially awkward and couldn't go to like a yoga class on my own or couldn't do things like that on my own, you know. Maybe it's more like I'm not independent.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm the same. Like I sing and stuff. I did musical theatre all
Do
through school.
you? Oh my goodness.
So I'm from Dungannon. I don't know if I told you that.
Oh yeah, I didn't even realise that.
But I was always in Belfast for
Mm-hmm.
like singing and stuff. I would have sang like I sang at like the Grand Opera House, like lots of
Oh
different
my
places,
goodness,
you know, in groups and like just doing like shows and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And my music teacher was from here. But see if it was talking, like I could sing in front of like people or
Mm-hmm.
do anything, but see when it comes to like talking, even I was talking by myself on this mic earlier, and I was like, if anyone could hear me, I was embarrassed for myself, but
I think it just comes after experience, you know.